Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the GZ Chop Shop. We've got another full panel here, and guys, we've got a great episode planned for you. So once again, welcome back, everybody. Fat Baker, Gaming Ulysses, Ladybird, and Warners. How is everybody this week? What is up, guys?
All right, everybody
as a
answer.
collective are fine.
Yeah.
Okay, how about we all answer at the same time at three, right? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Great.
Oh, I mean,
we're good.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Everyone's probably like, yo, what is the chaos? But you know what? That's why I like doing the show the way I do. I don't like having too much of a plan. I like being spontaneous. Spontaneous as much as those filters that Yuli was
I can turn it back on right now.
giving us earlier. For those of you guys who see this on YouTube, you probably will see what we were talking about.
The Cheeto.
Oh gosh, not the Cheeto.
But
But we got some topics we're going to cover today, and one of them is the Xbox Showcase. So the Xbox Showcase just recently happened, and I'm gonna give my little 2 cents right here, and then you guys can interject at some point. I'm gonna say I was a little underwhelmed by the showcase, mainly because it felt like they were advertising more so their Game Pass than the actual titles that they were, I guess you could say, trying to promote. And the thing is, the titles are interesting for sure, but I also feel like Microsoft is trying to strong arm people away from being able to own their games, and I feel like that's a really big thing now with the way things are going, cloud-based and digital content. It feels like they're really trying to sell you on, cloud service, because as Warners and I were talking earlier, the idea of being able to just sit down in front of your TV, turn on this piece of machinery, and have access to this plethora of games for, probably like $5 a month sounds amazing. And it's like, oh, it's a streaming service. I have all these games, but at the same time, it's like, but they're not really, your games.
What's
but
it called? HyperCloud? Is that what it?
Yeah, I think it's like xCloud or HyperCloud.
xCloud, I think.
Yeah, and despite they're looking like there's going to be some good titles, it seems like their main focus is just trying to strong arm away the ability to have these games for yourself. What I was reading and what I decided to watch myself, because I was reading it on Forbes, and it seemed like they weren't very impressed either. They're like, okay, we get it. You've got the cloud service, but you already said you're not really focused on, exclusive titles. You're and the titles you are presenting are okay, cool. Everybody knows Halo. And for the most part, when people are thinking right now, Xbox Series X, that's like at the forefront of their mind. It's like Halo Infinite. It's like, okay, cool. And what else? And it's like, well, what else do I need? Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Xbox Game Pass.
Well, and that makes you wonder: are they about to give us a crappy game and a crappy Halo game that we're expecting to be amazing, and they're just using that name to promote something that we really don't want?
I don't think that they're going to give us a crappy game. I will give them credit that they do put effort into their Halos. Not all their Halos have been amazing by any means, but they also haven't been total utter garbage either. And it's their flagship title. It's what carries them. It's kind of like how
it is carrying them.
Yeah, and they also know when a Call of Duty comes out, they're going to get a Call of Duty. They're going to get all this stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's the flagship game, and when you're looking at that, you are expecting, you're getting exactly what you're expecting. It's a Halo game. We're probably going to like it. It's going to, hopefully the story will be good. The gameplay will be all right. But for something that was supposed to lead the new Xbox, the new console, it felt very underwhelming to watch. I was expecting more from Halo.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree.
It felt like they were just like playing the safe route. We're a little comfortable. Yeah, let's add a little grappling hook. It's like cool, but I want more. It didn't help that I was also watching it not in 4K, so it's like I don't really know what the game's going to truly look like when we actually get it, on the Series X. I'm not sure, but I hope they revamp it a little bit more. I want to see better graphics moving forward.
And that's like one of the biggest things that they've been pushing is like how powerful this new system's going to be, and all this effort that they're putting into it. But if everything is going to be stream based and you're going to be streaming it from the cloud, is all that hardware actually necessary? Because I'm just looking at Google Stadia, and yeah, I know Google Stadia isn't holding a match to the PlayStation 4 or any of the other console competitors, but look at the minuscule hardware that is required, and they're streaming AAA games. You can still play these AAA games, and realistically, how many people have the know-how to even know how to set their TVs up properly to fully benefit from full resolution, 4K, 60 frames per second? That's actually still a very niche community of people that actually know that. Most people just want to be able to sit down, play, and that's what they do. So something like Google Stadia is like more than enough. So you got to think, are you paying for a very expensive placeholder? Like, what is the Xbox X, Series X, whatever? The title's so daggone confusing to me now. What are you really paying for at this point? If everything is going to be, if their main selling point is streaming, like, what is that hardware actually doing? Is it worth the price? Is what my question is. Because if we're going to be pushed to that era of, and we all know, just saying, looking at Mixer, if Microsoft feels that something's not working, they have no problem in dropping it. So if they're like, hey, the majority of people are doing stream-based, we're not going to make disc-based games anymore. So then
I don't see a future in Xbox consoles, and I think that they don't see that either. I think PCs and Sony is going to continue to do amazing, and Nintendo in its own right. But I think Xbox knows that they simply do not have a console future, and this is their answer, and they're starting to transition,
creating more like a subscription-based platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
why would I want to pay for an $800 or whatever dollar console that looks like it's about the same size as a freaking PC when I could go buy a PC and not even a great one, just an okay one that's on the similar par, if not better, and play everything I want to play that's also on the Xbox? I just don't think Xbox has a future, and I think that they know that.
Was anyone else surprised that the very first thing they showcased was Halo?
No.
I wasn't.
I was actually surprised. I thought, for their flagship, I was expecting it to be held off a little bit, and they just kind of like, they just threw it right out the gate. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
I think they've just poured out Halo to the point where it's like, it's our slut. Take it. It basically is. Like,
no one's here for anything else besides that, and maybe Fable, of course, and
Fable.
Either that. Well, I was excited about the new Fable, but
of course,
either that or they know
Fable, yes.
that people like me are like, listen. Because here's the thing. I was like, there's an Xbox showcase. All right, I'll check out the new games. And I was like, it's an hour long. I have other YouTube videos to watch. So I was like, I'm just gonna skip through the parts just to see the, and I, But like, as soon as it started with Halo, I'm not gonna listen. I have, you know what? No, I have zero shame. I saw Master Chief and I was like, like, that's it. That was it. I was like, okay, what else do they have? Like, I got excited. And maybe
just excited seeing Master Chief hair stand up on your arm.
He just looks so.
The thing is I was hoping they were going to follow it up with a little bit more. Like, if you're going to lead with Halo, like, I want to see it keep going up, but it felt like it was like going down.
It kind of didn't. I mean, they had some interesting looking games, but
I was
like,
they didn't give us a lot on the lore either. Like, there's been so much lore, like evolution of the Halo lore since with 5 Halos and the Reach. Where was the lore at? It was just kind of like some, like you're saying, basic gameplay.
I mean, they gave us the big antagonist, and that's a brood antagonist. You already know that's gonna deliver something. I mean, we all know Halo 2 and how good that was.
Can we also just I'd just like to point out just for a second that when I was watching the gameplay of Halo, just for a split second, I was like, the guy looks like he's using an A-pod. I'm just gonna leave it at that, but Oh my
I
god.
wouldn't put it above them to do so for display
Well, I
purposes.
mean, like,
Oh,
and then I
God.
was like, that's ridiculous. So he's probably just good. And I was like, but
That's
what if they do that
better-
just so that it makes it look good for
Okay,
the?
Yeah.
it's better than
trailer.
bringing a guy up on the stage to like play the demo for everyone. It's just like clearly it's been recorded and he's just pretending to play the demo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I
Or
mean, you
back in
kind
the
of-
old days when they did bring the guy up on the stage and he messed up in the demo.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
Well,
And it's
that's-
also to avoid showing whatever bugs they've stumbled across. Because I've seen that too, where they'll be playing and then the game will bug out and then they have to restart the demo.
Oh, no.
And then it's like, well, that's embarrassing. So
Did everyone have a game they were looking forward? Like when you started the showcase and you started watching it, were you like, I'm looking for this game in the showcase? Or is everyone just basically Halo?
I think
no,
everybody
because
was
I don't even
basically
know.
Halo.
Like, I'm so far behind on everything. I haven't even played Halo 5.
See, I feel like I'm a little bit out of the ordinary people because I was like, when I started watching the showcase, there was one game that I cared about the most out of all of them. It wasn't Halo, it wasn't Fable, it was Psychonauts 2. It's my favorite game in the whole world, Psychonauts. I speedrun it and everything, and I was a diehard fanboying, like, oh, let me see that gameplay. So I was so happy to see Psychonauts 2 with Jack Black singing. He's also apparently a voice character for one of the.
Yeah, I thought that was really
interesting.
interesting. How we got to see a little bit of him in the studio.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite game.
And you know, there's probably, like I say, for like those niche games, it'll be interesting. But I do feel Xbox or Microsoft pretty much really dropped the ball on this one. Like, and I also want to say I feel the fact that they didn't have to do this in front of a live audience. And if anything, these showcases proved the audience is like the other 50% of the hype factor.
Right.
Because just having the game there, it doesn't, like, hearing that audience reaction, like when you watch E3 and you hear that audience reaction,
The trailer coming up and everyone knows
trailer coming
exactly
up
which
and-
game it
yeah.
is. And
Or
they all
having
start
Keanu
screaming.
Reeves walking out on stage, some dude saying, "You're
Yeah.
breathtaking." No, you're breathtaking.
you're breathtaking.
Adding
that
that
was.
fucking
Yeah.
sold me. I was like, I'm
I
buying
wish I could
Cyberpunk
walk into work
2077.
with those
I don't
kind
even play
matter what.
Cyberpunk and I'm buying it.
Yeah, and it's like half of their selling point is that hype we give each other, that hype of
Right.
the presentation. And this is out of their control. I'm not saying that they didn't do the best that they could, but I also feel they didn't, do as much as they probably could have. They probably were like, all right, well, we don't have an audience. We're not really making money off of this because, it's free on the internet. The only reason they made it free on the internet is because they knew people were going to find a way to watch it for free anyway. So they were just kind of like,
very lazy.
yeah, they were like, all right, we don't really have to put an effort into this. We'll just put a couple videos up, talk about it, and we're done. And like I said, all it did is feel like it was just selling Xbox Game Pass. And
Yeah.
and on that topic, I kind of want to ask, like, we touched on it a bit last week, and like how gaming has changed. And there's points now where things are better, but there's also points where some good things were lost for no reason. And especially with esports and the way gaming has literally become a business. Gaming is a business. And because it's a business, it affects everyone who plays a game. And a lot of people are like, oh, I know nothing about gaming. And I'm always like, you got a mobile phone? Yes. Have you played a single game on your phone? Like, even if it's candy, they're like, yeah. I'm like, then you've been introduced to gaming. You know something about gaming, because mobile games have determined pretty much how the bigger games are handled now. And it's one of those factors that also I feel has an effect on things that have disappeared from gaming. And I actually saw a video about this, and Yuli, you and I were talking about it a little bit, how things as simple as cheat codes have vanished from games. Something that just added so much depth and value to games is just gone.
You're talking like Sega
Yeah.
Genesis, Super Nintendo type
Oh, not even
cheat
that.
codes.
Like,
Is that what you mean?
Like PS2 when GTA San Andreas was the big game. I played that game, no cheat codes normally, had my fun with it. Then I'm like, you know what? I want cheat codes. I want a flying car to get from point A to point B, because it was a
Mhm.
bitch to drive around.
I think with everything being more online now and interconnected, that that might be a reason why we're just not going to be seeing those things.
Well, why don't they have like a filter to allow it only on single player?
Yeah.
Oh,
GTA
yeah.
5
No,
is a good
that's
thing. Like, they have cheat codes in GTA 5. It's hard to activate because you have to director mode or type in a phone number kind of thing.
Hmm.
But like let's say like Call of Duty would have a menu like you want to activate cheats on play single player, ammo, health, enemies explode into confetti when you kill them. Again, add some good shit like that.
I think
Yeah.
that they're
'Cause
just.
I would replay the story just to kill people.
Like
with confetti
the
fire.
the skulls on Halo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Where
the
you
skulls,
could,
you
you
could-
could have
you
the
could pick 'em
little birthday surprise when you killed the grunts or whatever.
Yeah. It's
good
little
stuff.
details. It's little details like that. And it was something else we were talking about. I think that they were removed probably for two reasons. One, like Warner said, because everything is pretty much connected to online. And I think they feared the free replayability because it added like, you know, content pretty much for free because it's like Uli said,
Not a
you go through the game,
DLC.
yeah, it's like, why when I can just go through and, you know, cheat code my way through and then I'll just go and play a different game. They can't milk it if you
Right.
you know, if you
Remember
have cheat
when
code.
remember when cheat codes used to be like a mystery, just part of like you know playing the game, and like I don't know if you remember like Twisted Metal 3.
Oh my
Yes.
god, yes.
Yes,
They were very simple to find out because it was just very basic patterns on the diagonal
Left,
pad,
left,
and-
back, square.
Yeah, like
Twisted Metal 4, and you could
The-
reuse your.
and it was almost
Missile.
like it was intended to like be found in the game.
remember it.
Because you had a limit to them, but they were technically like cheat codes. I was like, yeah, you do a freezing ray, you know?
Yep.
It was crazy. You
I
go
still remember
invisible.
some of them in my
Oh,
head.
remember like, going to the store and buying the thick book of cheat codes for that one game you had?
oh yeah,
Where you find it out from your buddy.
Oh,
Your buddy's like,
yeah.
oh, you tried that? And he writes it down for you.
Yeah.
Like, those are the
Oh.
days.
Or when you open your game case and you have that piece of paper with all the cheat codes on it as you like slip in the disc.
I mean, you still got games like, as you said, Grand Theft Auto. They still purposely put them in the game as a extra fun factor to kind of like do, you know, after you beat the game, like and
Mhm.
like, yeah, you can spawn random tanks now and helicopters. Nice.
yeah,
But-
yeah.
Yeah, you have fun.
It's like you can only find them in sandbox games. It seems like every other game has made it a taboo now. It's
Not-
like,
I mean,
Naughty Dog still has cheat codes technically in their games because I know if you beat like the Uncharted or Last of Us game, you can go back, go to the menu, and activate cheat codes. So,
Yeah, you have to unlock it.
yeah,
yeah,
that's always fair. If there's
Yeah.
if there's someone trying to like use cheat codes to beat their first playthrough, I wouldn't really call them gamers at that point.
No.
It's just like, what are you doing? Like, just go watch the cutscenes on YouTube if you're not going to play the game.
pretty
I'm
much.
not gonna lie. Back in I'm talking Nintendo 64 days. For some of those cheat codes, if you had the flexibility, for a good example, Shadows of the Empire, that cheat code was so complex. If you did get that cheat code in on your first try for your first playthrough, you deserved it because they made it so complicated. Every finger on both hands was preoccupied in some way. I know this because I did it. I beat the game and I was like, all right, let me try this cheat code out. And I'm sitting there and my hands, and mind you, I was a little kid, so my hands weren't that big and that controller was massive in my hands.
What's your strong
I was-
hand?
I'm sitting there using my chin for the joystick.
There you go.
Just so I could make it go left and right. And the thing is, it was like you couldn't go full left, full right. It had to be slight left,
Oh my gosh.
slight right. So I'm sitting there with my chin and I'm nudging it and then you had to wait for it to go ding. And then
Sound
you
like
had to.
Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat finishers.
It was
Yeah,
So
they were cheat
it was
codes back in
bad.
the day.
It was
They were-
bad.
Yeah, MK2, there was no way to find out finishes. You had to do it either accidentally or you
Mhm.
find out from someone else. There was no way to find out unless you knew someone.
You know
Yeah.
what game would be exciting to see a huge comeback is Army Men 3D.
Oh,
I would
yes,
love.
that was a-
I would
That was
love
a good
to see that.
multiplayer game, yeah.
I never played Army Men.
I mean,
What?
didn't they come out with like a Army Man like a PC game? Like, was it like 3 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, and it,
It
just
was like-
wasn't.
It was just a very casual like multiplayer game,
Yeah.
but like I remember watching like streamers play it, and I was just like, wow, the maps are actually really cool. Like, you know,
I
'cause
mean,
it's like you're in a bedroom and stuff, and
yeah.
like I was like, man, I wish they had a full game release like this. It'd be awesome.
It'd be
Yuli and I
amazing.
found a pretty good substitute for
Oh,
COD
Mean Green.
when we were waiting after the beta for the release. called the Mean Greens, which is basically little toy green men. And it's just multiplayer, and there's like a team deathmatch. There's like a
What's it
free
called?
for all. It's called Mean Greens.
Is it on Steam?
It's
Greens.
like $5 and it is worth
But
it.
I'm buying this after we get off.
Yeah, dude. It's so fun. It's like, it's not got a big community, so it's kind of hard to find lobbies sometimes.
7 Days to Die started. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's still a fun game.
It's so fun though. Like, it's ridiculous how fun it is. It's a little bit stupid. Like, you can tell that it's very basic, but it's so fun. It's just an epic time waster.
Games like that are the kind of games real gamers find though.
Yeah. One of those.
I don't even know how we found it. I think Yuli found it first.
No, it wasn't me. It was Sheik. Fuck, I forgot her name. Dana. She told us about it.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was you.
Sometimes
gems on the internet.
So here's my question: is when we're talking about the cloud that the Microsoft is going to have, what would you say would be the difference between using this cloud service to download and play games versus maybe how Steam is used on the PC side? Because I can just re-download Steam on any computer and re-download my digital games.
Well, streaming is like instant access. You can create a subscription model so you can play lots of games, try them out if you don't like them, versus like Steam where you pay the game, and then you can download it on any PC that you want as long as you know your login.
Right.
So I mean, I guess it's just going to cater to different people, and I mean, we're not even sure if the streaming is going to be good enough for some hardcore gamers. Like, what's the input lag going to be like on that? We don't know.
Right.
That's the biggest factor that's going to decide whether this is for casual gaming, for families and kids, and what I can already tell you, I guarantee there will be some input lag to the point where you'll see more hardcore gamers and streamers not go that route. They're like, yep, I'm just going to stick to my PC, or PlayStation and buy the game out.
It's definitely going to be a lot harder.
They gotta
just don't have the same input anyways. If this were to go down a route where you could, download an app and a Microsoft app on your television in the future, or they were to sell televisions, Microsoft, kind of like how Apple started selling Apple TVs. That's just my thought. Like, is Microsoft going down that route?
We kind of
like a more of an ease of access kind of thing.
Yes.
Also, they already have they kind of already have it set up to where you can already try games without having to pay for the Game Pass. Like, so I mean, because you already have to have Xbox Live Gold to play online at all. So, you pay for that, and they give you free play days. They got like weekends, and then they have demos for most of the games. I figured out. Yeah. Like, I don't ever download them because I'm like, I already know whether I'm going to play this or not. But they have like a lot of free demos for the games, and then on top of that, if you pay for gold, which if you play online, you pay for gold, you get free games every month anyway.
Well, I mean, it's just a small rotation versus this is like a giant catalog.
Oh yeah, that's
where you can
true.
just like choose from and like instantly play it. And you can find out real quick if that's the game for you. If you're like, not my game, I'll just move on to the next one. Versus waiting every month for the next list of games for you to try for free. So yeah, as you said, it sounds like an ease of access kind of thing. They might be just catering to that. Not towards like the hardcore gamer.
I would rather just pay only for gold than pay an extra $5 a month for Game Pass as well.
I'd rather just play on my $3,000 PC every time.
That's how I feel.
If I'm investing money in a $3,000 PC, it's like, why play console?
That's how I feel. I mean, I love Sony. Don't get me wrong; they make some pretty damn good exclusive games that I would hate to miss out on. But yeah, I agree. I mean, once I got a PC, invested in that. I mean,
well, they've also blurred the line for the reason for playing console over PC too. Like, it used to be, I used to, like my console better because you could just pop in a disc. You didn't have to install it. And the only thing that you had was a save file on like your little memory card or whatever, or
It's been
so like and
easy
because
to
they
do
don't
in a
do that
while.
anymore. Now that you have to
Easier
actually download every game that you want to play,
Yeah, it's not like that
there's really no
anymore.
reason. Yeah.
Well, when gaming consoles come with SSD drives, you're now
I know.
selling computers.
Oh, I know.
Pop in the disc and say, yeah, it's a 30 gigabyte download. You're like, what? What's the disc?
And then on top of that,
Waited
more
in line
updates
again,
and
now
more
I gotta wait again.
updates.
Yep.
And I think the main reason why it's like that is they want to be able to just do those quick updates. It's a lot easier, versus, for downloading stuff versus disc. Because like back then with the disc, if there was bugs, you didn't see updates weekly. It might take a while to get an update for that game.
Yeah.
I don't even think those existed on the PlayStation 1 for sure. I'm not sure about PS2.
Some games, when they were bringing in more internet, maybe.
Did they get hot fixes in PS2?
No,
I don't think so.
I remember
Maybe
Halo
not
2.
here.
I don't remember.
Maybe
it
in
was first
Japan,
out.
their library was so huge, and they actually utilized their internet features on the PS2. I know here in America, what you got was what you got.
Really complained for a
And we
year
were
before
okay
you
with
got a
that
hot
though.
fix.
Yeah, we were fine with that.
We were
Now-
okay as long as it wasn't like I can't play the game because
Yeah.
of this bug.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was just like simple, like, oh, I can go through this wall, or things
Right.
like that.
Yeah, and we made fun. And the thing is, this is where another factor of games changing over the years has been good and bad. Bugs back in the day were actually fun because you could just find so many little things. Like, look at the people who speed run Mario 64, and I talked about this in a previous podcast. And it was like how people were like, "How did you find this bug?" And it's just like, by chance, and they're
They try to break the game intentionally.
and they're speed running those games, but those are like fun bugs compared to now where it's just like, okay, I can't tell if this is just a bug or you guys got lazy.
Right.
I mean,
And then they
I'd
get
like
mad at
to-
you. You're not supposed to go there. We'll ban you. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's what the
Right.
next DLC is.
As I said, I'm speedrunning Psychonauts, so that
Yeah.
was it was very interesting that I grew up playing that game. It was my favorite game. I used to just play it like once a year. It's an 8-hour game, but then I was like, I want to see what this community's like. So I started speedrunning it. Now instead of 8 hours, I can play it and beat it in 41 minutes. Not quite the speed record. It's 30 minutes, so I'm getting close, working my way up there. But it was just interesting to see how these bugs existed, and I'm just I had no idea about them. Like, apparently there's a way to fly in the game, and I had no idea you could do that. The trick to it, though, was you couldn't do it on the console. You had to have the 60 frame limit on the PC version to do the flying. And then the funny thing was you broke the game if you went above 120 frames, so you had to put a limiter on it as well. I'm just like, this is crazy. It took me like 4 hours just to set up the game to be able to do the speedrunning tricks. But, now I'm flying around, and I had no idea you could do that before. It's I'd say bugs like that kind of just make the game interesting.
Some of my favorite bugs were like Red Dead Redemption 2, where there was like the donkey lady you could ride. Like, you just get up on her shoulders and she just starts like running around. And then there was the creepy like cougar man.
The whole controversy of Red Dead coming out and the amount of bugs it had, and
Oh my god.
People just
They were
didn't care
ridiculous.
because the game was just so good anyways, and they were
It was
funny
so
bugs.
fun though. Like, and then there was Skyrim where like you go and try and fight that dragon, and then it just starts like flying away backwards away from you, and then it turns out you can't kill it because you can't ever catch up to it, and it's just stationary like T-pose flying away from you. They're so fun though. Like, those didn't even make me mad. They were just like fun and usually got quite a bit of a laugh for a while.
I don't understand how Joe Rogan can make the comment he made about gaming or playing video games after sitting here listening to all this about games and the history and how fun they are and what they do for people, and then turn around and say something.
Are we going to that topic now? We bring that up?
Well, it's just it's in my head. Like, I'm sitting thinking about it as we're talking about this, and it's a comment that really bothered me.
It was a comment made of some other kind of discussion, and we are going to talk about it later on. But the whole world of gaming has shown that It evolved from a simple like 2 sticks and a square ball bouncing to fucking the games we have today, and like the amount of like how we've grown from with it to how it kind of degraded as well. From like people would kind of complete the game to 90% and sell it. Now they complete it to 60 or 70, bugs galore, and then try to fix it later. Like, oh, we're just gonna release it. We need to make it.
And when he made the comment, it was in my opinion, it was taken a little bit out of context. What he was basically saying, I think, and this is a thing that a lot of gamers have in common. We are very, very protective of our niche, and we're even more so protective of it because we have so many invaders in it. Because we are the generation that, and realistically, we're the generation that made gaming popular. We're the generation that made it what it is today. We're the ones who, we got teased for playing video games, and now look at it. We've literally helped make it $1 billion industry. So we are protective of it. So when we have someone who comes in and they say these things, we're not only offended because, like, oh, you're coming to gaming. We're having those flashbacks to all those days.
Yeah, we have a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to it.
Yeah,
too.
We're having those flashbacks of the days when kids would tease us for it. And
we're also not only that, but gaming has gotten there's several times in the last decade or so where gaming has been attacked because somebody flew off the handle and they just happen to be a gamer. So, well, obviously it's the video games that are the problem. So we're used to that being a negative connotation when people are talking about addictions to video games and things. So I can understand where that knee-jerk reaction comes from too. But I can also understand a little bit what he was saying. Because Joe Rogan, and myself also come from a generation where we weren't on video games all day. We played them, sure, but we also did other things where, because sitting down and playing Sly Cooper is fun, but it's not going to build any sort of skills that you can use later in life, for anything other than more gaming, right? Typically. Now,
burgling houses.
Yeah.
I want to be
my side job.
There's no violence. It's burgling.
Were to attack, I feel like 7 Days to Die has taught me quite a bit about survival.
Yeah.
Now,
that's true. And that's the thing, though,
is
like it's actually, games have evolved to where they do teach you things. I mean, like, listen, and I'm not saying, take your kids out of school and have them play video games. That's not what I'm saying. But I learned a majority of what I know about Italy from Assassin's Creed, from the reading all the little excerpts and stuff. Because when we were there, when we lived in Italy, we didn't have time
teachers
to actually go and learn things.
But think about like handicapped people. Assassin's Creed games are built on like real places. Think about like how that impacts handicapped people and being able to being able to see what it looks like and what the area would be in, because you can't do that physically.
And I can attest that playing, Assassin's Creed 2 and then actually going over to Italy and visiting places like Venice and Florence, it looks exactly like those places.
Did you ever say, I jumped off that building in the game?
I did, actually. Like, I went to Venice and I was like, I fucking recognize it.
You don't have to say in the game. Just say you jumped off the
brick
building.
that I used to get up to the top. Like, it was actually interesting. It was an interesting experience.
You see that hay pile right there?
See the hay pile?
I landed in that hay pile.
That hay pile, yeah. This is
based
where
off a real hay pile.
That specific hay pile
part
right
of the
there.
square right now is where that fucking bitch ran me over and then stole my money and I had to go and chase her.
And then that's the corner where I stabbed her. Whoa.
I'm getting the virtual reality gaming. It's gonna ruin me.
Oh my god.
So I will say the argument that could be made is like, video games, and once again, I got both sides of what Joe Rogan was saying. I understand both points he was making.
Absolutely.
How he was going, his choice of words may have been poor because of the conversation they were having as a whole. But to summarize, basically what he was saying was, if you're just playing video games but you're not doing anything else in your life, then that is where it's the problem, because video games become your life. And it easily can. You can spend a year easily playing video games. But I felt like, as you said, as a knee-jerk reaction, a lot of big gamers got offended because they've made their career out of gaming. But what he was saying, he was also saying you can make it into something, but a lot of people just kind of fall into the hole of just playing it. They're not, turning it into a business. They're not trying to better themselves while playing. They're just playing.
Right, of course.
I think he clearly meant that especially at the beginning. It was obvious. You could tell he was talking about like addiction to video games and how, as you said, that becomes your life. After that, he kind of went on a tangent and kind of just said a bunch of things that kind of didn't really fully support that. And he was kind of talking about like random other things. Like he's like, yeah, if you train to be a jujitsu, you can become a master and you can make money off that. And it's just like, that's a very cool thing you said there. But I mean, you could do that with video games.
You can do that with
I can play video games, get really good,
maybe he would have been more accurate if he made his point by saying, you can become a master, but not if you just stay at like the freaking green belt level your whole life or whatever.
And he says like it's 1 in a million for this. I'm just like, yeah, that's probably the same thing for being a jiu-jitsu master that makes 6 figures.
So years.
I was very confused by a lot of stuff he said. He also was saying, how you can make money being good at a video game, and he says like he didn't really go off about like what Ninja kind of brought up. And Ninja, I guess, heard that specific part of what Joe Rogan was saying was about making money at being good at a video game, and he was saying no, you can be good at making. Or you can make a lot of money by being good at a video game. You can also be sucky at video games, but be a good entertainer. You could be a good, editor where you make guides and things like that. There's so many different, and he also said, a coach, or players. Right. And, so there's so many different avenues for you to go at and make money as a gamer. And Joe Rogan was kind of focused on you got to be good at a video game. And it's just that's not true.
No, well, I mean, the Game Grumps are a perfect example, aren't they? They're not necessarily great at video games, but they're entertaining as a talk show or a commentary. And not only that, but they also have other things that they do on the side, right? Danny has a band, and Aaron, he makes art, and he makes, their little stickers that they sell now and stuff, a lot of the merch. So they're not just, gaming only, and then they just suck at it and they just happen to make money off of that. So... I mean, that's a perfect example.
I would say I do fully support what Joe Rogan was trying to say. I don't support the way he said it and how he went about it. I think he had good intention by saying, addiction and, having it control your life. But I think there is a difference between that addiction and someone who is, good at a video game and saying, I'm going to try to make this, I'm going to aspire to make this my career. And they decide, for a certain time period of their life to make it a goal to put in the time and effort to get so good at that video game or at streaming that you eventually do make it that career. If that means putting in 12 hours a day to, focus on your hobby and your talent to improve it, to make that money, that's different. You're looking at it differently. You're looking at it as a career, something to build on, something to grow with, and versus someone who's just happy being where they're at and not aspiring to go anywhere with it, and living in their mom's basement, is a common stereotype we gamers get.
Living in their mom's basement,
and they're playing 12 hours a day. But there's two different mindsets and focuses between those people. One trying to grow and one happily content with where they're at. And there's a big difference between them, and I think he kind of missed that a little bit in what he was trying to say. As you said, it's definitely, I think he meant the addiction part and not trying to grow in their career.
Right.
Yeah, because he was basing it off his own personal.
Yeah, because he was addicted to quitting.
People also need to know, if you put in 12 hours a day to try to be good at something and you spend 2 or 3 years on it, there needs to be a time in their life when you realize, maybe I need to do something else or put this off on
Right,
the
if it's
side
not
while,
going anywhere.
go to college and try to like make another career, but keep it as like a side hobby, and maybe you still can have that dream. I mean, you obviously can't spend 60 years of your life trying to attain a dream and just like fail at it for so long and be okay with that.
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean, it would drive me nuts if I spent the next 20 years of my life trying to become a famous streamer, and 20 years later I'm only getting like 20 viewers, average.
Yeah.
There has to be a point when you have to be like, okay, this is not for me. I need to think of a different career choice, something for me to grow in.
I mean, at least you gain one viewer a year. I mean, that's something.
Yeah, you get your. Some people.
That's why I stream more of as a hobby. I like to stream. It's more about capturing moments for me.
Right.
So when I'm playing games with friends that I know there's going to have a lot of laughs and jokes, specifically like Sea of Thieves and stuff like that, I want to record that. Or if we're doing like crazy things in World of Warcraft with my guild, like speedrunning or drinking games and stuff like that, I want to record it. Obviously, I don't record everything, because sometimes it's just me sitting back casually playing, and like I don't want to talk to people. I just want to play my game.
Right.
Yeah. So
I'm not like a Tachi over here,
Huh?
You're farming it. You're farming it good. Yeah. You've been growing. I've been keeping an eye on you.
I was telling him.
It's touching on that topic. It's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. There's a lot of work involved.
I mean, your brand's growing. I can see your brand growing. I mean, all the things you're doing with your editing as far as transitions and the logos popping up, and I saw the latest one with the drawings of your podcast. I was like, I remember I started doing this podcast with you, and the reason why I couldn't was because I had work come up, and coincidentally you guys always did your podcast on Tuesdays when I was raiding in World of Warcraft. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do. I don't know if you remember, but I had a lot of mic trouble back then too.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So I felt really honored for you to be like, hey, do you want to come this week? And I was like, what, it's been so long, I really want to do it. So I pushed some stuff off to the side, got my day off from work, was able to find the time. So, but I was like, man, I wish I could have been in that drawing, because that's a cool drawing. The artist, man, I might have to tip him a little bit to see if he might want to do a little something just for me and my channel.
Peanut the Kidnapper. This is his shout out. He's gonna love that, because I know he listens to the show. If you ever get the chance, hit a Peanut the Kidnapper. The man does some amazing art. There's your shameless plug, buddy. You're welcome.
Man, if I make a little extra money, I wouldn't mind paying for a little something for me. The Fat Baker, fat cartoon character, dude. Basically, I'd be wearing a shirt like this, but with my logo.
There you go. There you go. You sure you don't want to borrow the picture Yuli had that Warner's thought was you?
Oh my god.
And it was a joke. Off the name.
I think you're thinking of Fat Baker with an F. Fat Baker with a PH.
He's trying to be funny, and it blew up in my face. It became comical in a different way.
Tachi, I don't know if you remember how I got that name. I don't know if you remember. It was from the Navy. Do you remember that?
I do remember you said it was from the Navy. I don't remember exactly how you got it.
Kagiwa.
Oh, good old.
I was the baker, remember?
You were, yeah, for the CO,
so,
right?
I was the baker for the ship. So, and because we're in the Navy, we're supposed to be somewhat physically fit. I was always a little chubby, but I was always within Rex, or Regs, and but because of that, he was like, yeah, you're Fat Baker with a PH because you're not obese or anything. I'm just like, that's cool. I'm a good guy.
I'm gonna roll with it.
I was 240 in the Navy, and I was within regulation and passing my physical test. So I was a little chubby, but I was still there. So PHAT.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I wasn't that I wasn't that fat, but yeah. So he gave me the nickname Fat Baker that kind of stuck with me. So I decided to use it for my Twitch channel.
There you go. That's what you do. But guys, we are at the end of this episode. This was a good one. We got to talk about the Xbox Showcase. We got to talk a little bit about Joe Rogan and some of the changes brought to gaming. And Yuli is, for you guys, when you see this on YouTube, you're going to see that Yuli makes these shows
Stop laughing.
Very interesting with these little faces he has. Oh my gosh. But guys, leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Did Xbox represent? Did you see everything you wanted to see, or did you feel let down? What games are you looking forward to on Xbox? Do you feel Halo is living up to your expectations, or do you think they are milking that same old cow until it is drier than a desert? Let us know in the comments. Anyway,
let me know if you like Psychonauts too, because that's the real game.
Yes.
That's probably the only game that would ever be.
Check out Mean Greens. It's freaking fantastic.
Also, I'd love to have talked more about Fable, but we just didn't get much for that game, obviously.
Oh, I'm
just a
excited
little teaser trailer.
Just a little teaser.
I'm a little excited, nostalgia and growing up with that game, so I can't wait to see what they got with that.
Real quick, would you guys want a Fable like entirely remade from the ground up, or basically something like the first game, just updated graphics, physics, all that?
Remade, ground up.
Remade, ground up?
Yeah.
I want them to take some things from the first one, but I don't want it to
because
take
I was
everything.
playing Fable Anniversary.
It has to have its own identity.
Pull a Resident Evil 2 type situation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That's a good one. But we are going to
I'm
get
not a
out of
Resident Evil
here.
fan.
Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Everybody, stay safe out there. If you want to hit me up, you can hit me up at Twitter at Itachi2661. Make sure you check out the Discord server. You can actually find all of us in there if you want to talk to us. And also, if you want to help out the podcast, make sure you check out our Patreon page. You can find us on patreon.com/the GZ Chop Shop. Anyway, love all of you. Stay safe out there, and we will catch all of you on the next episode. Later, everybody.